Welcome to Mini Mind Hack, a place where psychology and philosophy meet literature and sociology. Today we're asking a question a lot of people never expect to ask. Why does success so often feel empty? You work toward a goal, you get there, and the thrill fades faster than you thought it would. In this video we'll look at the mechanisms behind that feeling, the science that explains it, and a set of practical shifts you can use to make achievement actually feel meaningful. Success isn't a single thing. It's a social construct, a biochemical event, and a personal expectation all at once. Culturally, we teach people to equate worth with results. Finish school, get the job, buy the house, earn the promotion. Society rewards target hitting and public markers of achievement. That cultural script is powerful because it gives goals a clear track and clear measurement. But there's a problem. When value is measured externally, fulfillment becomes conditional and unstable. You achieve a target, you feel good for a moment, and then the system asks you for the next target. Your identity keeps getting pushed toward another milestone because your value was built around performance rather than a life you enjoy. On the neurochemical level, the problem looks less like a moral failure and more like hard wiring. Dopamine is often called the reward chemical, but that label is misleading. Dopamine is about motivation and pursuit. It rises when you anticipate a reward, not when you receive it. The brain lights up as you chase a goal. Dopamine surges while you plan, strive, and overcome obstacles. The actual attainment produces only a short spike, and then the level drops back down. In evolutionary terms, that makes sense. Organisms that were always ready to pursue the next resource had better survival odds. But in our modern world, where goals are often endless and symbolic, that wiring means the satisfaction of success is brief and quickly replaced by the urge for the next target. There is another mechanism called hedonic adaptation. Humans adjust emotionally to new circumstances. The new car, the promotion, the bigger paycheck all feel exciting for a short time. Then your baseline happiness resets. That's not a failure of the individual. It's a universal trait. We evolve to notice change and to habituate, which improves survival, but also ensures that external achievements rarely give lasting contentment. Achievement also reshapes identity in a risky way. If your sense of worth is tightly coupled to external outcomes, I am my job title, or I am what I accomplish, then success becomes a fragile foundation. It's fragile because performance always has limits and setbacks. The higher you raise the stakes of identity, the more exposed you become to anxiety and fear of failure. People who are high achievers often report persistent insecurity because every success must be followed by maintenance or escalation. This turns accomplishment into a treadmill. Success gives a momentary boost, then pressure for the next project, the next promotion, the next accolade. Another modern pressure is comparative visibility. Social media and culture make achievement visible in an abstract and decontextualized way. Highlights without the grind, peaks without the valleys. That creates an illusion that other people's success is effortless and permanent, which drives comparison. Comparison erodes the sense of sufficiency. If others always look ahead of you, your current success feels smaller. The social logic of comparison means success is never a private thing. It's a point on a shifting public scoreboard. And when significance depends on relative standing, fulfillment depends on moving up the ladder, which, by definition, has no final rung. If you step back and look at this from a practical perspective, you can see three interacting dynamics. Cultural scripts that equate worth with output, brain chemistry that prioritizes pursuit over possession, and social comparison that constantly relocates the finish line. These dynamics together explain why success can be hollow. So what does satisfy? Neuroscience points to a distinction that matters. Short-term motivational states driven by dopamine versus longer-term stability associated with other systems like serotonin and secure social attachment. Dopamine makes you chase. Serotonin, oxytocin, and stable habits are more associated with calm contentment and social bonding. The point is not to demonize drive, pursuit has value, but to recognize that pursuing goals alone is an unstable path to lasting well-being. Philosophically, this diagnosis echoes ideas that go back centuries. The Stoics taught that well-being depends on distinguishing what you can control from what you cannot. If you base your identity and your happiness on outcomes you don't fully control, you set yourself up for disappointment. The Stoic practice is to invest in intention and effort, which you can control, and to accept outcomes without letting them determine your inner worth. That doesn't mean passivity. It means reframing what constitutes success in ways that are resilient to the inevitable fluctuations of life. From a practical standpoint, there are several shifts that reliably make achievement feel more meaningful. The first is to shift the focus from goals as endpoints to goals as processes. Instead of making your sense of self contingent on the certificate, the award, or the headline, anchor value in the daily practices that constitute your work: the craft, the relationships, the habits. If you take pride in how you show up consistently, you gain a source of satisfaction that doesn't evaporate the moment an external result is achieved. Second, cultivate internal goals rather than external ones. External goals are measurable by other people, money, titles, likes, and therefore depend on external validation. Internal goals are about being a particular kind of person: resilient, curious, compassionate, disciplined. Research shows that people who pursue intrinsic goals report higher well-being and more sustained satisfaction than people who pursue extrinsic goals. Ask yourself, are you pursuing this milestone because it aligns with a deeper value or because it's a social ticket? Third, invest in stable sources of fulfillment outside achievement. Relationships, rituals, physical health, and small daily practices are what I call durable goods for the psyche. They are less flashy, but far more sustaining. Regular connection with friends and family, predictable routines, physical exercise, and creative hobbies produce a background level of contentment that is not knocked over by a single success or failure. Fourth, practice Stoic detachment about outcomes without detaching from effort. That means deliberately tracking what you can control: your preparation, your actions, your temperament, and letting the result be just that: a result. This reduces the pressure that turns success into an identity trap. Fifth, de-automate the achievement mode. Create scheduled periods of aimless activity, time where you do something for no measurable goal. This could be a walk without a podcast, a hobby with no metric, or an hour with a book disconnected from productivity. Doing nothing productive can feel useless at first, but it recalibrates your brain's reward system and reduces the reflex to quantify every moment. Sixth, practice gratitude and perspective. Gratitude doesn't replace structural changes, but it shifts attention from what's missing to what's present. Combined with perspective, remembering that career success is only one dimension of a life, gratitude helps create a stable platform for contentment. Seventh, limit comparison. That may mean curating social media, putting boundaries around conversations that center on status, or reminding yourself that other people's public faces hide private gaps. Comparison is a thief of satisfaction. Limiting it reduces the treadmill effect. All of these changes are practical, but they also require habits and repetition. The brain is plastic. By repeatedly redirecting attention toward process, relationships, and intrinsic rewards, you slowly retune how achievement registers for you. Dopamine will still light up when you chase a goal, and that energy is useful, but it will no longer be the only barometer of value in your life. Let's be concrete with an example. Imagine someone who trains for a marathon purely for the medal and social recognition. The medal arrives, the photos are posted, and within days, the thrill is gone. Now imagine the same person reframes the marathon as a practice in consistency. Daily runs that also structure time with a friend, time to clear the mind, and a ritual to celebrate small improvements. The medal is still nice, but it's layered on a consistent structure that yields ongoing satisfaction. The difference is that one approach builds an identity around a single outcome. The other builds identity around a sustainable practice. Another practical tool is the satisfaction ledger. Each evening, note 3 small efforts you made and 1 positive interaction you had. Over time, you'll notice your sense of worth shifting from single events to a ledger of consistent, small wins. That ledger is a cognitive scaffold that resists hedonic adaptation because it focuses on process rather than a single endpoint. Before we close, a quick word about culture. Systems, workplaces, schools, industries that prize output above all else tend to produce people who feel empty after success. If you find yourself in such a system, you can't change the culture overnight, but you can change your relation to it. Reprioritize what you pursue, renegotiate your metrics privately, and invest attention into the domains that sustain you. That's a form of resistance. Choosing what matters to you rather than letting external rewards define your inner life. To recap, success often feels empty because of 3 linked causes: cultural scripts that equate worth with outcomes, brain chemistry that favors pursuit over lasting pleasure, and social comparison that keeps moving the goalposts. The antidote isn't quitting ambition. It's recalibrating what counts as success. Shift from outcome to process. Cultivate intrinsic goals. Build stable sources of fulfillment. Practice stoic acceptance of results, and limit comparison. Small habits produce large changes over time. If this video helped you reframe something, try 1 practical step this week. Pick a goal and write down 1 daily practice that matters more than the result. Do that practice for a week and notice the difference in how you feel. If you like this episode, hit like and subscribe for more mini mind hacks. Simple, practical resets for a noisy mind. Share your experience in the comments. What achievement felt hollow for you, and what small change actually helped? Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.